Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff from Prayerful Arts. So last week I did this adorable little simple 48 triangle Pysanky while I alternated with cleaning up part of my studio. And as you can see, the part that I cleaned up is still cleaned up. It still hasn't become chaos again, so you couldn't even see the top of this desk. And obviously this is where I do painting. And then I cleaned up this section here. I'm not cleaned up this area, but I will get to that. So that is what I got done last week. Now there's still a lot to be done. Yeah, this all still has to be done. And the big box of stuff I had in the other room, I brought in here and sorted through it. Some of it I put away, some of it I pitched, and some of it I'm sorting into piles. So that's what's on the floor now. It's kind of a disaster zone in here. But since it worked out so well last week with doing a Pysanky and cleaning up, I'm going to try that again. So what I am going to do is I have another one of these really cute light brown eggs. I've drawn a 48 triangle pattern on it rather darkly, and that's kind of what I'm going to do, but I didn't draw it in all of them. Anyway, I'm going to dye this brown, a dark brown, and we're going to start with that as the initial lines, and then I'll wash it back to this creamy color. And I will be alternating, working on the egg and cleaning the studio. So let's just see how well I do this week. Okay, so 15 minutes are up, and I decided I would focus on this area here. I did clean it up a little bit. This was where I sat last year when I was making cards for all of my kids and grandkids. And so I had all the blank cards sitting there. I put those in the closet because the box they were in wasn't very sturdy. So if I find a better box, then I'll put them in it. There's my cute little angel from Judy Harvey. Okay, so now we're ready to start on the egg again. And here we have our Pysanky that has been dyed in the Pysanky USA Nubian Brown. And it gives the appearance of like what a French Meringue egg would look like as being the color. So I'm going to use my Lubas Electric with the fine tip, and I am going to use some white wax in it so I can see it on the egg. Now there was already some wax in here, so it won't come out white immediately, but it will come out eventually. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wax all of the lines for the 48 triangle. And then I'm going to wax what I want in the triangles. And one of them is just going to look like a stick because it's going to be where I'm going to put some pussy willows, and the other one is going to have a triangle within the triangle. And again, I'm going to keep this simple, although this one is a little more involved than the one I did last time. But I'm only going to do one other color besides the natural shell. So when I get all of this wax on here, I will wash the egg off and hope I can get back to the creamy color as best I can. If I need to do a little vinegar, I will. Oh, didn't draw that line dark enough. I think it went right there. but I want to get back to the original color of the shell was kind of that creamy ivory white color. And I'll use that, and then I'll just dye it in one color for the final color. So again, keeping it somewhat simple in color choices. And then so that really makes me focus more on the design, because I don't have all the colors, I just have the design. And this will take me a little while, so I'll wax all of the 48 triangle lines, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm putting in the triangles. Okay, we're back, and it's probably a little hard to see, but I do have my 48 triangle lines on there. So let's put what we want in each of these. Okay, so on every other one, I'm just going to draw a straight line to about there. Not all the way to the line. The line is here. I stop there. This is going to be where I will put the pussy willow buds after I have washed the egg back. So we're going to do that in every other one. You can kind of see it. And then in the other one, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to draw some lines inside of the triangle. So I just drew 3 borders in there. So let me draw this out, and then let me get some paper and draw it out so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I can see it pretty clearly. I just don't know how well it's showing up on the camera what I am doing. All right, so this is the pattern that I will do on all of them. Now let me get out some paper. And as I was cleaning up, I found all little bits of piece of paper in my studio. So I have lots of stuff with which to draw. So let's say that this is your, let's see how well I can draw this. It kind of goes like that, like that, there. Okay, so there's that's like one of the squares where there's the 8 triangles, and there's 6 of them on your egg. So what I did was, in this one, I just waxed a little line that came out like that. And then I waxed this one. And then I waxed that one. And then I waxed that one. And then in these other ones, I drew lines like this. I drew them a little better on the egg than I'm drawing them here. And then in your one that would be over here, and this one, oh, that was really bad. Okay. You get the idea. This is the section next to it. And then that one will have this one here, and then in this one, Oops. Okay. I hope you can get the idea of what I'm doing here. So they line up every other one. Okay. I'm going to wax that on the rest of these, and then I will wash it back to the lighter color. I use a little bit of Dawn dish soap, and that's all I use. If it doesn't come off, then I will use some, I'll put it in the vinegar for a few minutes. What I find is the longer the dye is on the egg, the harder it is to get off. And by longer, I mean like days. This hasn't been on the egg that long, so hopefully it will come off relatively easily. All right, we'll be back and see what it looks like then. Well, this might not look like a lot of progress, but what I did do was I cleaned up this area where it says watercolor. That's where I had all the paint that I was using on my big egg. And I will clean up some of that other stuff too. The reason I'm going to clean it up is the next big thing I'm going to do is tackle that. And what I want to do is sort it into what it is and how I use it. And I'll probably be putting big piles of stuff on the floor. So I needed to clean the floor off. And that's what I did. All right. Now let's get back to the egg. All right. So here's the egg. I washed it twice. And I still couldn't get all the dye to come off of it. And so I've etched it for a minute, dried it off, etched it for another minute. I think this is as light as I'm going to be able to get it. And it's okay. I'm going to go with it. All right. So what are we going to do now? I'm going to pull out my Luba's Electric. And this time I'm going to put some blue wax in here that I got from Ukrainian Accessories. It comes in a sheet like this. And oops, okay. So I want to add the little Pussy Willow. So they're going to be like this. And you probably can't see it yet because it still has all the black or the white wax in it. And I just make little bud-like shapes along this line that I drew that is the stick. So do that in all of these. I love when I start seeing these come out. It tells me that spring is indeed in the air. And this one here. All right, now the other thing I'm going to do, so the next color is going to be my final color. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to completely fill in all of these areas. And yes, I could have used a candle heated, but the electric is working well. So I'm going to do that and that. And I better look at this on my lighted magnifier later to make sure I got it all covered. And then we'll do that. Okay, so we'll do that in all of these areas. And then I will dye it and come back and show you the completed one. Now, I am not going to be doing any studio cleanup after I get this wax on because I have to do some Chris cleanup. I got to get in the shower because I need to get somewhere. So studio cleanup is done for the day, and it will resume again. I don't know when, but it will resume because now that I'm seeing progress being made, I want to keep it up. So anyway, we'll keep it up. All right, and be back with our finished egg. And here's our completed Pysanky. I love it. Turned out really cute. I'm glad I went with the purple in there. I think all of it being pink would have been a little much, so I really love it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I haven't made much more progress, so there's really nothing to report on studio cleanup. But I'll continue working on it. I'll get there. I know I will. But in the meantime, happy egging, everyone.